And I am alive talking about movies once again. Guess what? 41 years ago, we had a movie called The Toxic Avenger. And for the Red Blue podcast, I think it was like 2 years ago or so, I happened to see that horrendous movie. That was terrible. And some may say it was in purpose. But even if it's in purpose, you can fully embrace and say that movie was crap. That movie was bad. That movie was unwatchable. Now, 41 years later, we get to see a new The Toxic Avenger. And to be honest, because I hated the original one in 1980, I wasn't that keen to see the Toxic Avenger. But Coley, good friend of the channel, told me, "Oh yeah, that time it's actually good." So interest happened, and I was like, you know what? I will see for myself. And this is the intro. Here we are. We talk about Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage. Um, Now there's the new formula of that stream, that new way of doing things. I will be going through the plot. So be advised, we will have full on spoiler. So if you have not seen the most recent Toxic Avenger, go watch it. Then come back to this stream or this video because the stream will be most likely over when you happen to come here. So we will talk about the plot with full spoiler. Here we are. So for those who don't know Peter Dinklage, or yeah, I think most of you know him from something because the guy is kind of big right now. He is from Dexter Resurrection, Game of Thrones, and so many other movies. Peter Dinklage is the tiny guy, the small guy. Um, Speaking of Dexter, we will talk about Dexter this week very soon because Resurrection ended. But let's get back to The Toxic Avenger. The movie was made in 2023 or 2022. I don't know the exact time they decided to make the movie, but it it came out last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. It just came out in theater like recently, and sometimes you have like movies that were made in 2023, but they come out like 2 years later. The other example I got in mind was Dream Magazine, a movie I quite enjoyed, and this time around I enjoyed that movie as well. Another very good movie, The Toxic Avenger. But let's get into the plot. So the plot. J.J. Doherty, an employee at the corrupt and polluting pharmaceutical company BTH, managed to sneak secret information to an investigative reporter, but the pair are attacked by the Monster Nuts. I won't call the exact name because YouTube hates that word. A violent gang and popular rap rock group on BTH payroll. You know what? That's kind of funny. Rap rock. These things don't mash well together, but I guess that's the purpose of that. That's the humor there. And before reading that plot there, I didn't realize. I thought they were just doing rock, but apparently they're doing rap rock. Interesting. The Nuts manage to delete the journalist, but JJ escapes, much to the annoyance of Nuts manager Fritz Gerbinger. In nearby St. Roma's village, BTH janitor Winston Goose, aka Prater from Dexter, aka the tiny guy, can't Peter Dinklage. That's the word I was searching for. is struggling to support his stepson Wade, whose mother died of cancer. Winston sees his neighbor Daisy being threatened by a goon sent by mobster Tad Bakebuss, but doesn't intervene, much to Wade's disgust. Let's pause here right now. Tad Bakebuss. I hated that character. Anyhow, let's keep going. At BTH, owner Bob Garbinger and assistant Casey fret over the company's struggling financial, especially as Bob owes money to Berkey and payment is coming due. Fritz tell Bob that GJ escaped and Bob demands the answer down. And a lot of the action, a lot of the things that were going on were entertaining. People running around and making me laugh. Um, Winston discovers that he has an advanced brain disease that is likely to end him, and that his only hope is a medication not supported by his health insurance. In desperation, he attends a fundraising gala held by Bob and begs for help getting the medication. Bob and Chrissy trick him into leaving the building and lock him out. Winston then breaks to BTH, uses toxic sludges to turn a mop into a radioactive weapon, and uses it to steal a bag of money from the company's vault, tying up the unarmed security guard. As Winston leaves the alley behind the building, JJ arrives chased by the monster nuts. JJ escapes again, and the nuts shoot Winston in the head, ending him. They dump his body in a vat of toxic sludge and leave, unaware that it has revived him into a grotesque mutant. Now, I gotta say that usually I'm like, oh, that's the kind of things that's plot convenience. Well, I gave it a pass this time around. And here's my thought process. You know what? Peter Dinklage works in BTH, and the girl investigated BTH. So I'm fine with them meeting at that point. And to top that, we kind of knew they would get involved at some point because they are both after the same guy. So yeah, I gave them a pass there. Thinking about it, I closed my eyes. I let it slide this time around. Can have plot convenience here and there. So now we got the Toxic Avenger being revived in the pool. The mutated Winston returns home and tries to climb in through an upstairs window, but the terrified Wade knocks him off the fire escape and onto a sports car belonging to the goon who has shaken down a Daisy earlier in the movie. The goon shoots at Winston, who instantly heals the wound and then rip off the goon's arm. The police arrive and Winston flees to the nearby woodlands, where Obo Goody stroking gives him a pep talk and tells Winston to show Wade who he is on the inside. That was a very enjoyable scene with really interesting dialogue and colorful character. Winston returns to town armed with his mop and confronts Harris, the nasty lad, gruesomely ending them and saving the SH. That was a nod to the other movie, and this time around I was more entertained. I liked it so much more this time around. And he becomes a news sensation. Wade sees the news report, sorry about that, and recognizes Toxie as his stepfather, but so do Bob and Fitz. JJ, who picked up Winston ID in the alley incident, arrives at Winston home and meets up with Wade, who resolves to help his father. Just then, The monster nuts arrive, kidnapping Wade and shooting JJ in the stomach. Winston arrives and heals JJ with his blood. Later that day, he goes to a Monster Nuts concert and destroys the band to remain YouTube friendly. Winston and JJ raid Bob's compound to get Wade back, but are captured. Bob extracts Winston's blood to create a transformative elixir, hoping to get Winston's super strength and enormous um, D, white out the other mutation. But he is too impatient and drinks the untested cocktail, transforming into a sentient airy beast. Tad Bacchus arrives to collect his money, and Bob ends him and his men. Meanwhile, Winston and JJ escape and head to the shed where Wade is being kept. But a gunfight ensues, and the shed is accidentally blown up. Bob emerges and engages and enrage Winston and combat Winston win, but before he can deliver the ending blow, he discovers that Fitz had helped Wade escape the shed before it was blown up. Fritz is a great character. He was part of the bad guys, but he did something good, and that was fun. Wade mutated after drinking the dregs of Bob Elixir and also attacks, but Winston manages to blow both of them up using gasoline from JJ car. Winston wakes up in hospital where he is held as a hero and told that his mutation has cured him from his brain disease. Bob's crime has been exposed, and Wade, JJ, and Fritz are still alive. All thought the latter has been arrested. Winston is celebrated as a hero by townsfolk and hugged by Wade, who has accepted him as a father. In a post-credit scene, Casey is revealed to be alive but horribly burned, while Winston teaches the audience how to make the best grilled cheese sandwich. The humor, I'm telling you, the humor was really, really cool. Really, really cool. And I just realized that guy, that Fitz guy is Frodo, I think. Hilarious. Anyway, that was it for the plot, the big thing. I will reiterate, I will repeat myself. I had a blast. This new movie was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. With that being said, let's get into my review, my thoughts on that movie. Because again, that's a good movie. I don't think it's perfect. I did let the plot convenience slide this time around. I forgive you, movie, for having like converging goals there. Because I was entertained, and again, I think this time around, one can say they will meet. They have the same enemy. So let's get into my review. I had 3 issues, and 2 are more of the same. So my first 2 issues are the humor. At 2 instances, I feel like the humor was forced, and it didn't work for me. I was in pain hearing some of the attempts at humor, and again, it's 2 instances in the movie. So overall, I think the movie landed a lot more humor than it failed. I think most of the humor did work, but the moment it didn't work, I was rolling my eyes. I hated these moments. They were really painful. Now, my third issue. You may have guessed it, but I do think the guy with the white suit, the supporting villain with the white suit, I can't even remember his name. That was a terrible character. He was just there to be hated. And let's be honest, that would have been so much better if he died, but he survived his encounter against the Toxic Avenger. He lost an arm for sure, but like that would have been a satisfying death. If that prick died, great. But again, that guy, he was the weakest villain in that movie, and he got like 4 or 5 scenes. It's too many. Focus on the good villains, because I do think most of the villains, they do work. He is the weak link. I feel like you take him out of that movie, the movie is still very good, and the movie actually improves. Because when I think back about that guy, the only things he really brought up is how Peter Dinklage early in the movie doesn't stand out for others. That's really the only moment that the guy in white, that's the only moment where he shines. That's the only moment that he shows something very important about the characters and the story. But his other cameos, don't know. I hate that character. So with that being said, these were my three issues. I think some of the humor didn't work, and the guy in the white suit, you compare him to the rest of the cast, he only has one scene that really matters, but he appears in like 5 scenes. Hell, the homeless guy in the woods is a more appealing, a more interesting character than the guy in the suit. And that's telling, because the guy in the woods has like maybe 3 scene tops. Tops. So I think characterization overall in that movie did work for most of the cast, if you forget the guy in white exists. Now let's get into the themes and the enjoyment, the growth. So, theme of corporations sacrificing the world for gains was cool. The main character being irrelevant for the bosses and CEO was a cool theme, and it made sense. Like, he comes to them, he's the janitor, he's the nobody, he talks to them, they don't care about him, and they basically ush him out. They're like, yeah, yeah, we will help you out, and then they just leave him to rot. And they created their own worst enemy, if you can call it that way. That's the best way to put it. What else can I say? Well, the third thing is the son earning self confidence was amazing. I with that son character, I had doubt early in the movie. I was like, maybe he will drag it down, but no, he has outstanding moments. And the first time when he fell on the stage, that was to set up his character arc, where at some point he will get at the end of the movie self confidence, and he will trust himself, and he will shine. So early in the movie he is at the lowest point, and that movie is to bring him up. That movie is to elevate that kid. And that kid has that great moment with the dad, and he's like, yeah, that's not where you are. You're not a monster. And that was amazing. That movie was entertaining. I liked it so much. As someone that has now seen 110 movies that came out in 2025, I think that one is probably top 30, maybe 40, but even there, like, no, actually 40. Yeah, it's a 9. It's still very high. Yeah, more top 40, I'd say 40 to 50. It's right underneath 28 years later. I think I liked 28 years later slightly more, and I also think 28 years later is a slightly better movie, but they are still very good movies. They are both better than the Fantastic Four and the Conjuring Last Rites. We will cover that Monday. But Toxic Avenger, what else did I like? Well, I like the lore and the magic with the blood giving powers and healing people and basically bringing back to life the main character. And I feel like this is one of the best cases where the hero gets powers, because a lot of times it's very contrived how the characters are getting their powers. But now we get to deal with a janitor that works in that place that use chemicals, and he was messing around with chemicals, so it makes sense he would get these powers. It feels organic, and I like it. Do more of that, superhero movies. Set up like your guy to work in the right place, so it makes sense if he's at the right place. Now, the next thing to enjoy, the action was entertaining. The Each slaughter is like, wow, wow. The violence in that movie is brutal, and there's a bit of satire because it's so over the top. Like, I mean, the guy ends people's lives with a mop. I like so much that aspect to that movie. It's like you can laugh at it, and it makes sense. Um, the next thing, the movie was great at showing overtelling. The actors were solid. I cared about everyone, even the kid. And sometimes the kids are like, yeah, it's 50-50, but that kid, I think he nailed the role. Most of the villains were cool. Again, outside of the white suit guy, I think every villain were cool. Like that group, these monsters, they have charisma. They are peak entertainment. They are what we need. What else? What else? Well, most of the humor did work. And I think Peter Dinklage, I started becoming a fan of him because I enjoyed him as Leon Prater in Dexter Resurrection. And now I enjoyed him as the main character of the Toxic Avenger. Now, with that being said, I don't have a lot more to say, so I will give my grade a well-deserved 9 out of 10. I adore that thing. It's a great movie. I think I would rewatch almost any day, any time. This is just slightly below 28 years later, a movie I did enjoy a lot. A lot. A lot. A lot. A lot. Anyhow, what did you think of the Toxic Avenger? With that being said, we are not done yet. There's the Rotten Tomato segment. Because we want to hear what other people had to say. Am I crazy? Because that's a trend with me. I'm crazy very often. So let's get into it. Let's see what others had to say. Let's screen share all of that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Rotten Tomato with Toxic Avenger. There we go. So 86 critique and 82 viewers. Very interesting. So let's get into it. We won't read everything. We will just read the... Oh my. We will read the first four there. 4 out of 5 stars for Thelma Adams. This enthusiastic revival of the 1984 original Ops the take values and adds a recognizable cast without sacrificing the original ick factor. No leaning, no Uggs, just look and owl. Ultimately, this is a fan-made effort for fans. Thought we are sure it will be appreciated in different ways by fans. Okay. Boo boo this guy. This movie sucked. I walked out halfway through. Peter's acting was so poor. The only funny part was the forming of the angry mob. Don't waste your money. I am convinced the rating are not what they should be. A modern's masterpiece. You know what? Because boo boo this guy, I don't like his review. We will cover 2 ear and 2 ear. So we will have different opinion. Oh my. Interesting. Okay, it's too bright, it's too shiny, but hey, that's other people's opinion, right? So what the others have to say. Whether poking at superhero cliches, there's a choice post credit scene, or trying to be the lead clever, it's all dopey, gruesome fun. I agree. It's in purpose that it is juvenile. and designed to be off putting to those not already dialed into trauma's rapt wavelength. Toxic Avenger could be the film of the year. I think it's an overstatement there. I think there are many better movies, but hey, that's their opinion, right? Excellent movie with a good mix of humor, action, gruesome special effect, two tons of weight. I agree. This movie was super cool if you're a fan of the original movies and you understand today's different social climate. You will enjoy this movie. They pay as much tribute as they can. That's true. Like, even the set design and the restaurant sequence, despite being different, you can tell, like, that's an homage. So, people liked it. I'm not crazy for once. Cool. Amazing. Amazing. With that being said, we are moving on to the outro of this. So, Monday, we will talk about the Conjuring franchise. Conjuring Last Rite is the big topic. I am currently watching the other Conjuring movies. Right after the stream, I will be watching probably the Annabelle creation. And yeah, I followed the timeline. Anyhow, I spoke about Dexter Resurrection. Wednesday, we review Dexter Resurrection and Dexter Original Sin. And this is the start of the film and shows adaptation Wednesday for the Dexter month. Anyhow, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the Toxic Avenger as well. I did like it a lot. And with this, we are out Tuesday. There's the Red Blue podcast. Don't miss that. We are back, and hopefully, we get Matt and Super Bowl. Only time will tell. We are out. Take care.